Read the disclaimer. Doofus. And please contact us through this email address with questions or fan art. Your support is appreciated.
Now over Quartzer, hey guys, Byte here. You've joined me in the middle of writing my script for the top 20 best Transformers I've collected this year script. Unfortunately, I've got to work on this script in order to get it out by the end of the year, but fortunately, I think I've got a pretty interesting topic I can talk about today. Exclusives, and the fact that, honestly, I don't really mind them. Now, you see here, I need to explain in depth in order to make sure that no one gets mad at me for having confusing rules that contradict each other in the future, so let me explain. You see here, the kinds of exclusives I'm 100% okay with are, well, exclusives of obscure characters, like Rotor Storm, or, Hubcap. Those are fine because, to you and me, we may like them, but John Doe, he doesn't really care about them. He's never heard of Hubcap or Bug Byte or Grease Pit. Then again, he hasn't heard of Ironworks either, so maybe this isn't being a touch far. Needless to say, Earthrise has had a bit of an exclusivity fetish, and fortunately it seems like we're gonna get that toned down a bit in Kingdom. Point is, there are certain applications of exclusivity that I like. There are also examples that I don't like, but when it comes to today's topic, I think that the exclusivity is justified. Salutations, denizens of the internet. I'm Firebyte27, and let us commence our analysis of Prime 10th Anniversary, Jet Vehicon, and War Breakdown, as well as their Microns, Zamu, and Egu. I've already forgotten their names. Help!
First off, let's talk about the Chonkmobile Deluxe, aka War Breakdown, which sounds like an insensitive name for post-traumatic stress disorder, or as I shall be calling him from now on, Breakdown. This car mode / truck mode looks amazing. Like seriously, I have never seen something that is simultaneously both threatening and kind of adorable. But that's just how Breakdown's alt mode makes me feel. It's both threatening, but also kind of cute. Kind of like Cecilia from Moonshine Animation. And as you can plainly see here, the paint on this figure is magnificent. Wait a frickin' second, this isn't paint! It's stickers!
Merry Christmas!
What's up, Byte? I've got the Christmas skit upon.
Unacceptable!
While Byte has an aneurysm over the presence of stickers, I will do the job of explaining why these in particular did not work, because as hard as it may be to believe, there are right and wrong ways of using stickers. A good example of properly using stickers is the eyes and mouths on model kits. In Byte's experience, these are details that are difficult to paint, not to mention he's a bit too busy to paint them himself. They're thick, durable foil stickers, not to mention unofficial companies like Toy Hacks can do foil stickers well. But here's the problem, the stickers that has tag made are too thin. And when they start to peel, all one can really do is watch as they crumble into dust. And further to that, Byte and I are convinced that the sheet of stickers that came with his copy of the box set weren't properly cut, so you'll notice instances such as the rear right wheel arch and the right bumper where the stickers have torn.
Okay, I'm done with my tantrum finally. Though, to add to this rant, yeah, I basically lost most of the stickers for Egu, as well as 2 of the 4 Decepticon symbols that came with breakdowns. And I also won't neglect to mention the fact that, well, Zamu's haven't started peeling off yet, and I haven't lost any from him, but frankly, I'm not going to talk about him or Egu anymore because they aren't that memorable, A, and B, They just kinda suck.
The fact that they exist is not the problem, though the fact that they chose to include them in the reissue is a problem. Because if I just had to, say, hazard a guess here, the reason why they included stickers in the first place was because they also included the ARMS Microns. The ARMS Microns that kinda suck. Though while I was recording my lines for this episode, another theory did come to mind for me. And that is, maybe making a bunch of major changes to both the mold and also the paint would have made this set go over a $40 value. And considering the limited release on Hasbro Pulse, and maybe Hasbro and Takara were afraid that charging $50 for this box set, minus shipping and handling, would have made it prohibitively expensive to any Prime fans. Though I am super happy that they kept the weapon ports on Breakdown because, oh no, Crab Tank everybody, let's roll, biatch! I'm gonna step on the gas! And now we move on to the other half of the box set. And despite this being the quote-unquote Jet Vehicon, it still looks like it's completely roadworthy. Don't get me wrong, the wing is making it obvious that it isn't a normal ground vehicle, but I look at this and the only thing I can imagine is the hover Batmobile from Batman Beyond. And what really doesn't help is that I actually hallucinated the song Deja Vu playing over a clip that I recorded of this vehicle mode while I was editing. Since I needed a joke here, here's a skip based off of that fact. The pilot Steve is about to perform a side step. It's practically unheard of in commercial airlines, but sometimes used by hang glider pilots. However, Steve has never actually piloted a hang glider, and is about to perform a side step in a Boeing 707. Here we go. Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Also, you see the black that comprises the majority of the Vehicon figure? Well, guess what? It's actually just a really nice dark shade of velvet purple, and only the top of the roof is painted black. You can never unsee that now, and I regret nothing. And coming back to the ARMS Microns, I really wish that Egu had some way of pegging onto the top of the vehicle mode. I mean, it isn't necessary, and I can probably accomplish the effect with other weapons that I have more of thanks to Siege, but it is still a little disappointing that there's no way to, plug him into the top of the vehicle mode. Also, like Breakdown, I stuck Brunt's claw weapons onto the front of the vehicle mode for my own amusement, and I can't help but feel like I'm fulfilling the prophecy set forth by TJ Omega's Plastic Addict episode on Prime Arachnid.
The prophecy is true.
And now, to conclude this segment, let's do a few size comparisons. Here's War Breakdown in the Jet Vehicon next to my last review, Earthrise Airwave, the last Prime figure I reviewed, Prime Dead End, a standard Qtama, a standard can of sparkling water, and Fraudside. These vehicle modes are pretty cool, and if I had to pick a favorite, it would have to be Breakdown, but that's because at least it looks like a land vehicle. The Vehicon, for all intents and purposes, still looks like a car. Now Breakdown, transform! And Vehicon, transform. The proportional difference between the two robot modes is like the difference between night and day. Breakdown is a strong, chunky bot who looks like it could reasonably be mistaken for a Cybertronian Pillar Man, while the Vehicon is pretty thin and weedy, especially in the upper arms, though I'll save my thoughts on that for a little later in the video. In terms of their design, the angular aesthetic is a great match for the rest of the Prime figures in my collection. But the only problem I have with them aesthetically are the stickers. I know I've already ragged on them once, but I still really don't like how they look on the figures, especially not the ones on Breakdown's knees, or the ones that cover the vents on the Vehicon's legs, because I've already lost one of those. I also had to remove the chest cover in order to attach the Decepticon symbol, but I think it's okay because at least that one won't be rubbing up against anything. Also, I really like the paint that surrounds it. The silver looks good, as does the metallic pinkish purple. I'm not really sure which it is, though. And speaking of elements of the aesthetic that I'm not particularly fond of, the upper arms. I mean, they aren't bad, and they do accomplish the goal of connecting the shoulders to the forearms, but the proportional dissonance between the two is a bit irksome, to say the least. Also, the engineering of the transformation feels a little antiquated, in that it mostly relies on panels. Panels in and of themselves aren't bad, but this panel-heavy style was mostly a result of the Revenge of the Fallen figures, and basically concluded, I think, around either Prime or Dark of the Moon, so yeah, it doesn't look great. And I can say that with some confidence due to my less than favorable experiences with Dead End from Revenge of the Fallen. That thing was a freaking nightmare. But on the plus side, it feels like it's not as panel heavy as Dead End. And as a result, it feels much more solid. Not to mention that the body that they gave Breakdown with this transformation, that is highly show accurate Chonk Man, it's just a miracle that they managed to do it.
Breakdown's head is on a ball joint, as are the shoulders, but the kibble gets in the way of outward movement. Waist can swivel, as can the thighs. The legs can move all the way backwards, but have been limited somewhat in their forward movement. The elbows are toothed to give them the appearance of a faux ratchet, but it remains unused. Knees are also somewhat hampered, but the toes can bend forwards and backwards. I think the eggnog is getting to my head. The Jet meanwhile has a ball joint on the head, outward shoulder movement, bicep rotation, and elbow bend, both forwards, backwards, and inwards for some reason. Thighs can swivel, and the knees can bend.
And before we wrap up this episode for good, let's take a look at the size comparisons. Here are the robot modes of War Breakdown and the Jet Vehicon next to Airwave, Dead End, a standard Qtama, a standard can of sparkling water, and Fraudside.
Okay, the script for the top 20 video is done. And can I recommend that you purchase the Prime 10th Anniversary 2-pack? It really depends. If you really think that it's a good deal compared to a lot of the prices on eBay and so forth, then I can't stop you. If you really like Prime, I can recommend it to you. If you just really like how they look, then get it. No one's gonna stop you. But at the same time, I am aware that there are people in the fandom who are unreasonably against the success that Prime is met with. And I don't understand why, but I can't recommend it to them. Even though I'm pretty sure at that point they wouldn't be interested in the first place. But at the same time, I can't really recommend it to a casual fan, because they are expensive. Not to mention, there are enough flaws here that it could probably ruin your experience with them. So, 8 out of 10. And before we go, I have to do two things. First is explain my rating system. Basically, the rating system is a tier of recommendation. Anything below a 3, and basically it's like, do not get it, even if you're a completionist. Then a tier up, only get it if you're a completionist, or if you're gaga for the mold. Then that's just like 5 to 6. Then for 7 to 8, it's like, we're getting there, but only if it's on discount and it has free shipping. Then we get to 9 and 10, and it's like, I can recommend it regardless of its price, or if it's scalped online. And honestly, this set does not warrant that rating. So, an 8 it shall be. And the second thing I need to talk about is shoutouts, because boy, I've racked up quite a few. First off, I'd like to thank my entire subscriber base because, well, we've basically tripled in size over the past year, and I don't think that would have been possible if there weren't any people watching my videos. Next up, I have to thank Silverfoil because, well, he's kinda the first guy that I collaborated with, and he also did a April Fool's collab with me this year. Then on top of that, we have Dr. Lockdown for the other collab that I did with him, in which we reviewed Earthrise Hoist, and it really helped me clear my head and notice a lot of the flaws that I had missed in that initial review. Then third up, we have the stop motion reviewer, who basically let me play a huge part in his Christmas special that's also premiering today. Then, after that, we have the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer, who has helped me research the vehicle modes for a few figures, I think like 2 figures at least in the past year. Then, on top of that, I also have to thank Patriot Prime Reviews, Kato's Collection, The Correct Primer, Sardo Numsa, Inutabi, and most of all, Ninja Bill. But with that being said, please remember to like the video, share it with your friends. You know what? Screw the calls to action. This is Firebyte27, over and out. And don't forget to have a happy holiday, because, well, that's the culturally neutral term.